Supposed to be a made-for-TV moment. Yesterday, Fox News was interviewing Curtis Swilla, the head of the New York City-based vigilante group known for targeting migrants. And they were discussing migrants in New York City when suddenly this happened.
Guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th, while all this is
Can you pan the camera?
They've taken over. They've taken over. You'd like the camera over there if at all possible.
Yep. You got your key open, guys.
He is out of control. Out of control. Well, he had been shoplifting first. The guardian angel spotted him, stopped him. He resisted. And let's just say we gave him a little pain compliance. His mother back in Venezuela felt the vibrations. He's sucking concrete. The cops scraped him off the asphalt. He's on his way to jail.
On February 6, 2024, during a live TV interview with Fox News host Sean Hannity, Curtis Sliwa, the leader of the vigilante group the Guardian Angels, claimed he had just apprehended an undocumented migrant accused of shoplifting. The man, however, was not a migrant, but instead was a man from the Bronx. Though Sliwa had claimed on live TV that the man had been caught shoplifting, the NYPD showed that there was no evidence that he was guilty of shoplifting. It appeared that he had been gaffled up without any evidence he had committed a crime. While the incident certainly brought Sliwa back into the public eye, it definitely wasn't the first time that the Guardian Angels had been known to many. This today is what the modern New York City subway looks like. That's not to say that it's the greatest subway in the world, but it is the largest in the United States and also one of the most efficient in the world. And it's existed for a long time, over 100 years in fact. It runs pretty efficiently, but obviously it's not without its fair share of controversy.
Good evening, everyone. If you ride the subways, tonight's news is not so good. Subway crime has hit an all-time high, according to the Transit Police.
Well, you hear examples of it almost every day. Tonight, there has been another victim. A man was shot twice in the chest on a number 6 train in Upper Manhattan. Police say that he was resisting a robbery attempt at the time. 2 suspects ran out of the station at 125th Street and Lexington Avenue. They were arrested by housing police.
At the beginning of the 1980s, New York City seemed to be in dire trouble. In 1975, the city was almost bankrupt, which led to crumbling infrastructure, homelessness rising, and of course, crime spiking. In 1981, New York recorded 2,126 murders in just that year alone. Mugging, assaults, and drugs like crack cocaine became rampant. And if there was one place that the deterioration of the city was shown most, it was in New York's subway system. The subway had, in many ways, become a symbol of the problem with New York as a whole. It felt unsafe, dirty, and overcrowded. Graffiti showed how little care had gone into preserving it. But what most New Yorkers hated most was how unsafe it felt.
I walk around and I'm scared that somebody's gonna attack me, take something from me, or, anything. I'm really scared.
This subway is terrible. And then they've gone up 15 cents. Don't make sense.
The previous record for subway crime was set in 1982, 15,368 felonies. By the end of the year, the new record is expected to top 16,600. The Transit Police blames it on a new wave of younger, hardened criminals.
To make matters worse, the police force monitoring these subways is shrinking. Back 2 years ago, there were close to 4,000 officers monitoring the subways.
But because of city budget constraints, the number of transit police is down nearly 400 officers.
People were fed up, and they knew something had to be done. But the police didn't seem like they would help. So who would?
Last week, one rider took matters into his own hands, the so-called Subway Good Samaritan.
Do you think it's gotten so bad that passengers have to protect each other?
Absolutely. I think if everyone pulls together, it might give the criminal a second thought about trying something.
Well, someone did.
In the 1970s and 80s, New York's Central Park was barely a place you wanted to be in the daytime, let alone after dark. But then, one man decided enough was enough. His name is Curtis Sliwa, and in 1979, he started the infamous citizen watch group, the Guardian Angels.
How are you? Seen you around for years.
Yeah, I'll give you my card.
Awesome.
Thank you.
In 1979, Curtis Sliwa, then just a 25-year-old night manager at a McDonald's in the Bronx, founded the vigilante group, the Guardian Angels. Originally named the Magnificent 13 for their 13 members, the Angels had one goal in particular: keep the New York subway safe. They were distinct in being unarmed, while wearing red berets and white t-shirts with the Guardian Angels logo on them. They were also trained in different things such as martial arts, first aid, and citizens arrest procedures. They quickly garnered media attention and public support, though not all were big fans of their style of keeping New York safe, especially those who were tasked with keeping New York safe originally.
On Sunday night, 2 Angels were arrested by police after they tried to make a citizen's arrest of a man who threatened them with a knife. Angels leader Curtis Sliwa says the police warned his group if they make more citizens' arrests, they too will go to jail.
You better find another ferry boat in England and turn that into a jail, because you're going to be loading it up with Guardian Angels. We are going to fight for the streets of New York City.
With the change in department policy, the police are now in the position of watching over the Angels, not necessarily to assist them when they make a citizen's arrest, but to arrest them when they do so.
You see, the police were not the biggest fans of Curtis Sliwa and his group. Despite the fact that Sliwa and the Angels were helping to enforce city laws, many in higher power saw them as fakes or wannabe cops who were simply pretending to be heroes. It's a funny thing about the Angels. Despite being an overtly pro-police group, they themselves often became a target of the police and local city government. Curtis Sliwa was even sued by the police union in 1992, being seen as an attention seeker by many cops. But nothing could stop Sliwa. Not even the mayor of New York himself, Ed Koch, who throughout his tenure was a very vocal critic of the group. Even the mob couldn't stop Sliwa. On June 19, 1992, Sliwa was kidnapped and shot by 2 gunmen after entering a stolen taxi in Manhattan. The taxi picked up Sliwa near his home, with the gunman hiding in the seats, fired several shots into him, hitting his legs. Sliwa was lucky to be alive. Surprisingly, prosecutors charged the son of John Gotti, John A. Gotti, with the attempted murder. It appears Sliwa's actions hadn't just made him a target of regular criminals and the government, but even the Gambino crime family.
Curtis Sliwa found himself on the other end of a gunman's pistol. This is Sliwa back in 1990 when he came to Chicago to help clean up a neighborhood. But that bravado made him a target today. Chris Borgen files this report from New York.
The 38-year-old Sliwa and his wife Lisa host an early morning radio show, and because of that, they have to leave for work quite early in the morning, sometimes together, often separately. It was the normal procedure for Curtis Sliwa to leave his home, which is just up the block, and walk down the block to Ray's Candy Store, just about 5 o'clock every morning. This is exactly what he did this morning. 5:20 a.m., he arrived at Ray's Candy Store and went inside to buy his papers. Ray was there. Once he left the store, Ray says, Curtis Sliwa came outside, walked to the corner of 7th, and hailed a cab, which apparently was pulling right up. He got into the cab, and suddenly the cab, instead of going westbound on 7th, suddenly spun and went eastbound in the wrong direction. To Sliwa's surprise, 2 men were in the cab, at least one of whom had a gun.
He got into the cab without any exchange of words. The individual in the passenger seat fired at him and shot him in the abdomen and in his left leg.
Sliwa yelled for help on his portable radio, even as he managed to vault out of the passenger side window.
It's obvious, though, it's obvious to the investigators and it's obvious to myself, this was not just a random act of street violence. It was something that was very well orchestrated.
In recent years, the Guardian Angels group has seen a return to the limelight of New York, as subway crime appears to be on the rise again. The group has now become more strongly anti-migrant and focuses more strongly on stopping illegal immigration.
Which will be directed at Eric Adams, because the swagger man with no plan has been away all week. First he went to Martha's Vineyard, then he went to Israel. He's been in the Hamptons the last 3 days. He was there this morning. What is he doing in the Hamptons? He's getting wine, dined, and pocket line. He is the general who has abandoned his troops. So I'm the interim mayor. I'm the mayor in exile. I live on the island of Manhattan. We're taking charge because he just keeps dropping migrants into communities. No transparency, no plans, in flood zones. It is so chaotic. And this guy acts like he doesn't have a care in the world with his $5,000 customized suits. And by the way, he says he's Gandhi. Hey, Eric, Gandhi wore diapers, not $5,000 customized silk suits. This will be my 80th. I know exactly what I have to do.
What the future holds for the Guardian Angels group right now seems unknown, especially with Curtis Sliwa's run for mayor coming up later this year. But there's one thing that is for sure. The Guardian Angels have certainly made their impact on the city. Now, what people think of them, on the other hand, that's the real question.